All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Multiverse Show, episode 83, the greatest show on Mondays. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate everyone for showing up and dealing with us being a little late last week. It was not because we wanted to. Oh, man, I had words for Microsoft. We're definitely words. So, getting into some of the stuff we have to get into before we can pay these bills here. Fane, let's talk about that Sea of Thieves controller giveaway.
Yeah, but we are giving away a physical copy of Sea of Thieves. We're also giving away the limited edition Sea of Thieves controller, which, by the way, is sold out damn near everywhere. Amazon is sold out. All my local game shops are sold out. I don't know what everybody else is going through, but out here, that controller is nowhere to be found. And like I said, even on Amazon, that controller is currently sold out. But we are giving away a copy, courtesy of the Multiverse Show and the XP podcast. We are giving away that limited edition Sea of Thieves controller and the physical copy of the game. The giveaway will end literally the day before the game is released. And then the next day, that box with the controller and the game will be shipped to the winner. So the winner will be announced on the Multiverse Show. You guys know most of our giveaways, we do announce it on the show. The winner will be announced on the Multiverse Show. We'll be tagged on Twitter. We'll be DM'd. And the very next day, we will ship out your prize. So make sure you guys go in the description down below and enter to win.
All right. So that kind of wraps up our ads. So let's get into this topics. Boys, we got to do our intros. James regrets he will not be here again this evening. He actually ran into his fuse box and busted out all the power in his building. So, geez. And Mike is certainly hit with the flu. I think that's a total lie. We all know the real reason is because Tom Brady lost in the Super Bowl. And he could not face this work we were about to give him, where we will do so in his honor in our own little segment. But first, we got to introduce the Titan of Texas, the voice of the people, Fame Entertainment.
What's going on, people? Fame Entertainment here from TICGN.com. Welcome to the Multiverse Show, the greatest show on a Monday, episode 83. Thank you guys for rocking with us once again. And yes, we know Mike is dodging us because I also have the flu, and I'm here today. F-bomb.
Oh, man. And we also have the Chief of Achievements, the one true king of the North, Undead 3XVI.
What's going on? Glad to be back on the podcast again. Licking my wounds from the football game lost yesterday.
You put money on this too, didn't you?
We had a work football pool. Everybody put $50 in. Whoever won got like $750. So it would have been cool to win, but
oh boy, that's a good one. All right, and we don't have the other two. That's gonna be pretty short in Anchorman V2. And we have our special guest on, Rick Langnese from Warhorse Studios. How are you doing today, sir?
Exhausted, but at the same time, I'm just as excited and alive and awake, man. We're what, 8 days away from release, and thanks for having me, guys. Let's do this.
All right. Oh, but yeah, while we're here, we gotta do a little roasting over the Super Bowl before we start getting into it. I am perfectly glad to see the Madden curse is still in effect, but more importantly, the Kids Move curse is also in effect.
You're gonna get blocked for that. You're gonna get blocked for that.
I dare him to block me for it.
I got blocked for 2 hours for it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't.
Oh man!
I'm like, nope, I'm not following you back, sir. Sorry.
For those of you that don't know, Kid Smooth had made a bet with someone for $100. He bet that the Patriots are going to win. But the thing is, though, everyone knows that if Kid Smooth puts money on something, he's going to lose. It's just a guarantee, no matter what. This was a safe bet too. Oh, Patriots versus Eagles, Patriots going to win. But as soon as that bet was announced, it was over.
You know what? I was very confident walking into my pool until I talked to you on Saturday, and you're like, oh, yeah, Kid Smooth put money on the Patriots. I was like, well, there it is.
Well, Smooth, he can't win a bet ever. Like, ever. He can't win a bet. Poor guy, man.
I know. That's the thing. It's got to be like a long shot bet where there's just no chance. But like I would act like a double negative. Like, okay, they have a 1% chance of winning. And Kid Spoon puts it all on them, and because of the negative effect of his vote plus the negative chance of their winning would actually result in a win.
Remember that's how he lost his switch. He made a bet with Black Bond, and that's how he lost his switch. He made a bet and he bet his switch and he lost it. Like, he cannot win a bet. He needs to stop.
Yeah, just oh my gosh, and it was fun though. Anyway, anyone else watch the game last night? I know I did. Fame?
I watched it. As a Cowboys fan, it hurt me.
You just said Cowboys?
I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh, that's unbelievable. You know what? Enough of the Cowboys. Let's talk about some Giants. How about that?
No, that's a negative. But as a Cowboys fan, it hurt me to see Philly win a ring not because of the team, right? The team deserved it. I despise every Eagles fan. Well, for the most part, some of them are cool, but 99% of them are freaking. I can't curse. If you want to hear how I really think, come on Wednesday at the Double SP podcast. But no. I despise Philly fans. They're the worst fans in the world, 99% of them. So I didn't want them to experience a Super Bowl win. I didn't want Brady to get another one. So it was a win-win and a lose-lose for me. If I had to choose one, I would have chose for the Patriots to win 45-0, and then at the last second, Tom Brady ruptures his ACL, and then he retires.
Oh, dude, that's what I had a perfect idea of what I wanted to happen, but it required Jimmy Garoppolo not being traded, but, Tom Brady's ego got in the way. Like, I was thinking, like, okay, imagine the first half of the Super Bowl. The Patriots are down. They're going into halftime, and everyone's expecting Brady to come out and bring this second half drive to win the game at the last minute. And instead, Jimmy Garoppolo walks out with the blessing of Tom Brady and leads the Patriots to victory, creating the new dynasty of the Patriots and successfully handing off the torch. But instead, we'll let Brady throw some passes to some ghost players who don't exist, and there's no one even close there. But
hey, they should just tag Brady out and put in the MVP, Brett Hoyer.
Oh, jeez.
He's Canadian, so he's automatically good in my books.
All right. So we're gonna get.
Well, you know what? I will say, my bad. Really fast. I will say the Giants took the ultimate L through the Super Bowl for that dirty dancing, whatever dancing they did. They took the ultimate L of the night. I'm just saying.
I just love the fact that the Giants were part of a Super Bowl commercial, and then Brady loses. Somehow Eli still got in his head.
That's the thing, though. That's why I really wanted another reason why I wanted the Patriots to win, because I really wanted it to be that the only team that could beat the Patriots in the dang Super Bowl were the Giants. That is over now.
Oh, hey, yeah. The only people that beat Brady in the Super Bowl is Nick Foles and Eli Manning.
Yeah, a backup quarterback.
He played like a champ, though, as much as I hate the Eagles.
Oh, dude, I swear, I bet the whole reason why he did his reception to get a touchdown at the very end of there was just to show up Brady. Like, because Brady walks out there, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this sneaky play right here, and I'm going to get a pass, and, like, he's completely open and just doesn't get the ball at all. And then Nick Foles like, I'm going to do the same thing. Same with a touchdown.
There's a guy who's going to be making a lot of money on a different team next year, though. Real talk.
Dude, I really don't know what they're going to do. Because Carson Wentz is going to come back, and like he's got like another year on his contract. So, I mean, anyway, this is the only time you'll ever hear us talk about sports or football, really.
Super Bowl.
So this is really it, by the way. So, but yeah, we got some topics to get into. But real quick, we got to do something. We got to do our immortal question. We got to ask this. What we ask every single week. Maybe not much longer for the future, but we ask this every single week. What have you guys been playing? Rick, let's start with you. You're our guest, sir. What have you been playing over the last week or so?
What have I been playing? That's a funny question. Just because I've been
Other
just
than
doing
your
more.
job.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing is I've been trying to squeeze in like Monster Hunter with my brother, which I honestly, oh man, I'm already coming off as a hater, but I hate the multiplayer concept of it. It ticks us off. It takes us for like old farts, so it takes us like a half an hour to figure out how to even do it. Then by the time we do it, we're tired to go to bed.
Amen.
But
dude.
I really, it's terrible. But I really like Wildlands. I try and play that when I can. Ghost Recon is one of my favorite multiplayer series of all time. And then with the kids, we're still playing Mario Kart and Zelda on the Switch with them. And then I have so many games to get into once this game comes out, you know. But in the meantime, you know, I've been putting in a half hour, 45 minutes in at a time at best. But when I'm not playing with the kids, which would be Monster Hunter and Ghost Recon.
All right. So, Nick, what you been playing?
I don't play no video games.
I know you don't play.
Well, PUBG with you guys there on Sunday morning. A little bit of PUBG. A little bit about a game I can't talk about yet. And starting the Uncharted collection.
All right. Oh, you haven't played Uncharted at all? Or
I haven't played Uncharted collection since like when the game, like the first 2 initially came out. So never played 3.
Oh, wow.
So
I think I liked 3 the most. I think out of the 4, I think I walked away thinking I liked 3, then 4, and then I liked 2. Well, I liked 1. 1 and 2 are kind of interchangeable to me. They're just 2 different games. But I don't know. I like 3 a lot. Like not in terms of like the end all big. Well, the finale isn't the best, but I like the ride up to it. The story. It's kind of like it really is like Indiana Jones if you think about it, because like okay, the first one, Raiders of the Lost Ark, has a story. It's arguably it's probably the best, and then you got Temple of Doom, which almost has nothing to do with any part of any major story arc. And then you have The Last Crusade, which is kind of like it goes hand in hand with the first one. Like you can completely skip the second one and not worry about anything. So I mean, that's kind of it's the same kind of gist. But all right. And Fame, what you been playing?
My bad. I had the worst sneeze ever. You know, for some reason, I don't know how this ended up happening, and I know it's going to make me not finish one of these games, but for some reason, I'm playing 4 different games at once on 4 different consoles.
Yes.
4 different actual consoles. All right, no, 4 different consoles, 2 platforms. So on my Xbox One S, I've been playing Shyness and the Lightning Kingdom. Shyness, the Lightning Kingdom. On my OG PS4, I've been playing Live 18. On my Xbox One X, I've been playing Prey. And on my PS4 Slim, I've been playing Dungeon Quest Heroes. Is it Dungeon Quest Heroes 2? Something like that. It was given to me, and I decided to play it. It was actually that's not a bad game at all. I didn't think it'd be my type of game, but it's actually pretty fun. So somehow, for some reason, depends on what console I turn on, the game I'm playing is different. But those are the 4 games that I'm currently playing. Doesn't make any sense, I know, but that's what's happening right now.
All right. So yeah, for me, I've been playing Monster Hunter, little Overwatch, which I got that X update, so I'm playing that Overwatch, and playing PUBG with Sam and crew, and we even have that Sunday night or that's Sunday morning when we were playing PUBG, that was the most fun I've had in a while.
Oh yeah, that was good time.
Yeah, it was great. I had a great time. For those of you who know me, Samuel Tolbert, our new editor, Samuel Tolbert, Undead, who just launched his new podcast. We'll print that out later. Mike P. the Truth, who came in sick. He was like, I'm going to mute my mic while I cough all over myself. And we were playing PUBG together. We had a great time, too. That was an absolute blast. Oh, my gosh. We'll talk about that later. That was way too much fun. So we're going to get into some of our main stuff today. We have an opportunity here, another opportunity. Rick has now joined the ranks of some of the most important people to ever come and grace our show, right up there with, I can't remember what his name was, Stevie Richards from the WWE, and Ian Dallas from Giant Sparrow. We have Rick Nalisi, the community manager, over for Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is coming out on February the 13th, right before Valentine's Day. And by the way, I appreciate that release date. For those of us who are single out here, and we don't have time to give to anybody, I'd rather give it to a good game.
I've got to give my time to that game and sacrifice my time with my wife. She ain't gonna be happy about it, but
man, that's quite the introduction. Thanks for having me. I'm just a gamer, you know.
So briefly, I want to ask you a couple of questions. Let's start off with one of the more obvious ones. So, how did you get into gaming? What's your gaming history like?
Oh man, it goes back to the Atari. Man, what was the number? Was it 8600? Was that the? I can't remember which Atari it was, but it was the Donkey Kong. I think that was the first game I played, Donkey Kong and Mario. You know what I'm talking about? With the barrels, jump the barrels kind of thing.
Yep. And
then Pole Position was a game I was playing too, and then it was that pie fighting game, man, where it was like unlimited levels. You just saw how far, you know, how many I could get to, like level 150, and then it was insane. It was impossible. But that's what started it for me, man. It was my grandfather got the Atari for us for Christmas, and I was over there all the time playing it. That's how it started. So. All
right. So where did you kind of evolve from there? Like, did you stay in the console space, move to PC? How'd you progress as a gamer?
So let's see. After that, I went right to Nintendo. I mean, back in that time, man, it was like obviously Nintendo against Sega, just like Xbox against Sony or Microsoft against Sony. And, you know, same deal, man. Nintendo fanboys, Sega fanboys, you know, like we had our games, they had their games. And like I wouldn't even touch the Sega, you know. So I would just like play, you know, the Mario games, the Zelda games. That was my thing. It was always Mario and Zelda. And then you wait a long time, man. Getting that Nintendo Power magazine in the mail, man, that was one of the best days of the month. You know, getting that Nintendo Power, going through that, going to Super Nintendo. By the time, was it the N60? I think the N64, yeah, when that was out, that's when I tried to play a couple PC games, but we never could really afford a good enough PC to handle, like Rainbow Six. And I'm talking about one of the first Rainbow Six, you know. So I just went, you know, I stayed with console, and I just kept going up the ranks for Nintendo. Then I went to Xbox. Well, after GameCube, I stopped gaming for a couple years. And then the Xbox came out, and like, man, I got to try this again. Then there it was, Xbox 360, man. I remember on the bed, I remember my wife, she's like, honey, come on, stop. I was playing Ghost Recon, you know. I was playing Graw, I think. Or yeah, it was Graw 1, and I was loving it. I'm like, you got kidding me, man? What about I've been missing out on this, you know? And started playing online with the Xbox 360, and then yeah, just I was really playing competitively, and then that really slowed down quick. Have a family, you know, kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, then it was like playing multiplayer, and then it was like a lot of single player games. Then it was like talk to someone here or there. Like it really slowed down, but it's you know, working in the industry is such an amazing blessing. It's like at the same time as like I try to now, you know, going all the way jumping up to the present. It's funny now, like when you're used to, you know, going through a game, man. You know how you could play a game in like a week or two, and now it's like a year. Yeah. So that way a game. But it's fun, man. Good times.
Yeah. All right. So how'd you get working with Warhorse? Like, how'd you break? Oh, let's first off, like, how'd you break into the industry? Is Warhorse your first, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's honestly, and the more people I talk to, it's funny how it's a lot of us were just in the right place at the right time. It's the truth. For me, it was, and I you know, so I work for a cell phone company also. And long story short, I had to do some research on Microsoft phones and this website called Expert Zone. Don't know if you heard of it, but it's a great place for like retail Xbox fans who sell something that's related to Microsoft or Xbox or whatever. And it was like you could win tickets to go to E3. Well, it wasn't tickets to E3. It was like Microsoft press conference, and it was like Xbox. You have to whatever. You get to play some Xbox games at the booth after Xbox shuts down or the E3 shuts down. And my friend and I, like, I won tickets and we were so excited, but we didn't have passes E3. And I'm gonna have to skip over a bunch of things, but like then we ran into the right people we knew to get in. Being honest, like we faked it till we made it, if you will. And then I mean, I don't even know how else to say it. Like I just started, meeting people and talking to people, and then what happened is a few years later, I was going to E3, and my wife was just the crazy part is she was due to have our 5th child like 2 days after E3.
Wow.
And she always goes early. So but I knew in my gut, I'm like, man, I don't know how many, spiritual people are out there. I'm a very spiritual person. But I just knew I was supposed to go. I just knew it. And my wife kind of knew it, but she was like, you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, but that's nothing new. You've been married to me for what? She was married to me for 13 years at this point. And I go to E3. Oh no, before I went to E3 and before, like after I knew I had to go, I just knew it. On Twitter, Warhorse sent out a tweet saying, hey, we need someone to help set up a party for us in LA. And man, you should have seen how fast I was on that phone. I was like, bam, 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 on my keyboard. I'll do it. Pick me, And they did. I started Skyping with and I loved like Kingdom Come Deliverance, man. Like I was just a fan, you know what I mean? Like it was one of the games I wanted to see at E3 because of finally a game without magic or dragons. Finally, a realistic game. And so I started talking to them, and I'm just skipping over things, but I went to E3, set up a party, at this pub, and we showed off the game. They paid like $1,000. Well, oops, I don't know. Well, they paid some money for some drinks for gamers. And normally I don't say the price, but they paid a lot of money for the fans. There you go. So this is live. So, so then it went really well, and what's crazy is when I got home. I knew at this point my wife said her contractions were close. So I'm like, I can't believe it. I think I'm going to miss it. And we do home births, right? I actually got home, and the midwives who were helping us, because you still have people go help you deliver the baby. They came in right behind me in the house when I got home. They came in right behind me as if we timed it. And then we had the baby. Yeah, we had the baby as soon as I got home. It was insane. Man, it was like everything worked out. And so then, I didn't necessarily have a job with Warhorse. They just really liked how I set it up for them. And so I kept in touch with them. I'd make jokes like, hey, you guys going to hook me up with an E3 pass? And Toby, the PR manager, he was like, no, I want you working for us. And a few months later, it goes by after that. And I just did some things here and there. And then they wanted me to be the U.S. community manager. And now I've been the U.S. community manager now for almost 2 years.
Man, that's a story, dude. That's great. Like that just goes to show it really comes down to who you know.
Yeah, and you have to go after it. You know what I mean? Like if you're really passionate about something, you have to put the pedal to the metal because you only have a short window on certain things, and you can have all the right degrees, this, that, or not. It's all about your drive. That's even more important than a degree. You got to have drive. Otherwise, what good is it that you have a degree if you're not doing anything with it? Or if you don't have it. I didn't have it. I don't have a degree. I don't have something special. I'm not anybody special. I just had the drive.
That's inspirational, dude. Like,
that's how
like this. Like it's if you have the will, you will find a way.
Yes, sir.
That's great, dude. I'm glad to hear about all that. So, so this all you got hired like what 2016 or what was this party? This was like what 2014?
The party was actually in 2015. Man, I can't remember 2015, 2014, something like that.
Yeah,
probably 2015. Yeah, and yep. So a little bit of time went by, and they just, Toby, man, the PR manager, Toby and I just clicks really well. We, have some similar personalities. Like what you see is what you get. We're really upfront and direct and very passionate guys, and we just clicked really well. So it's been great working with them, man. Warhorse Studios is one of the best companies I've ever seen. I mean that. Really mean that.
Oh man. So tell us about Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is the opportunity for you to sell this game to the entire Inner Circle audience. This is the moment. All right. Hey. Well, we'll start with some of the basics. What kind of game is this?
Yeah, let's start dropping bombs. So Kingdom Come Deliverance is a first-person open-world RPG that is based on actual history that takes place in medieval Bohemia in 1403. And you play as Henry. You're son of a blacksmith. You're really a man of no reputation. And you're on a quest for vengeance because almost everyone you know has been slaughtered in your hometown, and your parents were murdered right in front of you. And the invading forces that caused all this mayhem were from Hungary. So there was a civil war, if you will, going on between Hungary and Bohemia, which is modern-day Czech Republic. And I mean, this is actually this what I'm telling you now actually is history and actually happened. So you have King Sigismund, who they called the Red Fox of Hungary, saw an opportunity to take advantage of his half-brother, who was King Wenceslas IV, who was called the Idol King, because he didn't even show up to his own coronation when the Pope went to crown him. Because that's where the Holy Roman Empire was really going on, was in Bohemia. So here you go, the Pope ready to crown the dude. He doesn't even show up. He's partying, man. The guy was a partier. He didn't take things serious. You know, he just didn't care as much, and his own half brother abducted him, both kings. And then there's a lot more going on, but Henry's on a quest for vengeance because the last thing he did, also with his father, being that he's son of a blacksmith, was make a very important sword. That's on the box cover art too of the game. And I don't know if you guys saw, I actually put a picture of like some of the limited edition sword. They call it Henry's True Sword, and there's just something about it because you got, I don't want to give away spoilers or anything, but at least in the trailers you've seen it. He's trying to get the sword back because it was taken from him. So, taken from him and his father.
Wow. So basically, if you look at the gameplay, this is a first-person game, though, right? This is not there's no third person. It's all first-person perspective, though.
Absolutely.
So this is like a.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. So this basically is something that, with the immersion in the game, with the combat we use, with the HEMA combat, the historical European martial arts, with the level of realism we have, and with fan feedback, first person is what works best with our game, and it's going to be a really just a great game. I believe people have been waiting for a game like this for a while, in my opinion, just to have the settings that there's going to be in games that we take inspiration from. You can see it; it's there. You can see it, like hints of like Skyrim, and even challenging at times like Dark Souls in a way. But Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game in its own right. No one has ever made a game based on history, this European history at this point in time in medieval Bohemia, 1403. And Dan Barbara, yeah, I mean he's our creative director for Mafia 1 and 2, for our game, of course, but also for Mafia 1 and 2. And then you have Martin Klima, who he worked on Operation Flashpoint, and other guys have as well. So, and that's what you get with Kingdom Come Deliverance. You get the story and the choices you make in Mafia with the realism of Operation Flashpoint. You put those two together, and that's what Kingdom Come Deliverance is. There's no magic, there's no dragons, there's no fantasy stuff, no hocus pocus. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but this is it's a great time to play a game where you have to pay attention to all your surroundings. You have to pay attention to the choices you make. This ain't going to be a game where you can just get away with something if you want to trigger the crime system and take something and just think like no one's going to find out if you get away. Things happen. It's a living world. With the combat, we use I'm sorry, I'm selling it right now, so that's why you asked. I'm going. I'm going. No,
like I think one thing that kind of like the part that kind of pushed me over the edge, because like when I finally got the interview, I was like, okay, I'm gonna research a little bit on this. I think the part that got to me was when you guys were talking about combat, and I was like, okay, combat, I get it. And so they were talking about like, no, we wanted to kind of simulate like how when you do a sword slash, like for like when you go like coming down, how it would feel on different types of armor. And I think the part that kind of got to me the most was talking about how the armor system is layered. That okay? You can have a big chest plate. Like you can deflect some stuff, but you getting hit is gonna hurt. Like as opposed to you wearing actual like padding underneath it, and you can kind of like go all the way down the layers. And I was like, that is cool. And so you can actually choose those abilities and that flexibility. And I was like, that was really dope to me. That's what got me in about the combat.
Absolutely. We what we do is we use a physical collision system. So we calculate how much damage you do based on what weapon you have, what the opponent is wearing or not wearing, and how much damage you'll do, or basically based on how hard you hit them. So you know, if you are using a sword and they don't have full plate armor on, and even if they just have, you know, just like a gambeson on or some kind of padding, and you barely hit them with the sword, it doesn't mean you're going to kill them, you know, in a couple hits per se. But then again, it doesn't take many hits to kill somebody. But it does depend on the impact that which you hit them. So if they do have full plate armor on and they're covered from head to toe, that's where you want to use a mace, maybe an axe. But how about a warhammer? Can't wait for people to use those babies and start knocking people in the head with them. You got your halberds, your spears from mid to long range. You know, you have your bow, of course. You have dagger for stealth. There's going to be a lot of different things, even like with combat, when you're, you know, what you use is what you level up with. And then you unlock perks based on each weapon set too, based on each type of weapon. So while the combat also is realistic and the game is realistic, we also, it's a video game, right? So we do give you, you know, we do cheat a little bit. You get perks that you can unlock to give you an advantage in battle. You know, sometimes people worry, is it going to be too tough? Well, the great part of it is you can train as much as you want. I mean, sometimes you have to put money on too if you want to train a little harder, and you can actually, there's advantages to winning money and all sorts of things. But also you can go through most of the game without fighting, because Kingdom Come Deliverance is technically not a fighting game. Although you can treat it like a fighting game. There's going to be, you know, some big battles that happen. There's going to be situations that you could choose to fight your way out, or maybe you can talk your way out. So that's what we talk about as much as there are, like, for example, there's only one ending to this game, but it truly is up to you how you get there. So.
Wow. That's just like, that's the thing too. I like when you actually create an option for players where it's not just like, okay, like Wolfenstein or Dishonored do this, where it's like, okay, you can choose if you want to do stealth or kind of walk through it. But I really do appreciate when a game allows you not to kill anybody if you want to.
Yeah, I mean,
like, there's going to be moments where you have to, but like, if you choose to avoid it, I generally try to.
Yeah.
And so
sorry, I was going to say, have you guys seen a little bit about? We talked about this one quest where you have the opportunity to like play the role of a monk.
No, I hadn't seen that one. No.
Well, and again, we showed this off. This is not, you know, I won't say anything that's a spoiler. But what's interesting is there's a guy who's, you know, caused a lot of problems. He's a murderer, and he's disguised himself as a monk. So in order to do that, he had to become a monk himself to disguise himself as a monk. So he had to go into the monastery, into the church, and you know that he's there somewhere. You don't know exactly, you know, who he is, but that's the guy you got to take down. And there's many different ways to do this. One way is, bottom line, you got to kill him, right? So you can choose how you want to kill him. You can try and sneak in, but there is a day and night cycle, so you're going to want to definitely make sure you try and sneak in at night. And when you try and do that, you better make sure your skill is leveled up enough. You also better make sure you're not wearing full plate armor on, because you're going to be loud as heck, and they're going to hear the armor, you know, clashing and all that. You might want to wear darker clothes, and you know you got to pay attention to those things. And then if you sneak in, you better hope you find the right guy, because they're going to have the monk guards and everyone, you know, coming after you. You can try and be like Spartacus and go in and kill all the monks, because eventually you'll get the right one, right? I mean, but then you're going to have to deal again with more problems with retaliation, with reputation, because reputation is not just based on the city or the town; it's also based on individuals. Or maybe you can try and become a monk yourself, or at least play the role of a monk. And if you want to do that, you need to read with them. You need to pray when they pray. You need to eat when they eat, and even sing when they sing. So you need to actually learn how to do those things, so you can really extend the length of the game. This is why I know people who are thorough are easily going to put in 100 hours into our game or more, because there's a lot of different ways you can approach quests. And it doesn't mean any one of them is wrong. It just means that there's multiple ways to do it. And even sometimes when you fail certain quests, you can find another way to still complete it. So it's a lot about the fun factor, and you got to pay attention.
Wow. Anyone else got anything else before we move on? Like, any other questions?
I don't have any questions other than, can this game get here faster? That's my only question.
I know.
Like literally, I literally have it planned out that basically from like when the game comes out for the rest of February, this is probably all I'm going to play. Like, I'm so excited for this game.
That's awesome. I'm very glad to hear that.
You know, I was fortunate enough to sit and talk with Rick at PAX South, which, well, I guess you guys, I don't know on a podcast, but people on the back end know that we actually had an issue with the video. But the audio was still clear. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get the interview out without the actual video. But we still have the audio up. So I was able to actually sit down and talk with Rick about this game. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. Unfortunately, my RPG backlog is pretty heavy right now. So I'm gonna let Anchor and Undead, play, have all the fun, and I'm gonna join in probably about a month later. I gotta get this backlog down. I can't buy any game right now. This is ridiculous.
I'm actually dropping The Witcher 3 to actually dedicate more time to this game. So,
hey, you know what? Witcher 3 is overrated anyway. I'm just gonna say it.
Whoa,
okay,
overrated.
Okay,
come on, dude.
Overrated.
You're going too far.
Where's the kick button? Where's the kick button? Get this man out of here.
Now, you can only kick me if I curse twice. I haven't cursed yet.
Those two are easy to get out.
All right. So we'll kind of get into our topics for the evening. Rick, thank you again for all this stuff. We're going to go into some of our topics now. It really is amazing. I cannot wait for this game. You've got me hyped.
I'm glad to hear it.
So some of the topics for the evening we want to kind of get into. There hasn't been too much going on this week, really, in terms of news so far, but this is kind of the nature of how Mondays go. Sometimes you got a lot, sometimes you got nothing. But last week we had something interesting that came down. We'll start about the slightly more boring one. So CEO Kaz Hirai has announced that he's going to be stepping down as CEO. He'll be just taking a chairman position at Sony. He'll be stepping down as CEO on April 1st, and it will be replaced by, I can't remember the guy named last name Yoshida, but it's not Shuhei Yoshida. It's the current CFO of Sony who will be stepping down, stepping up to become the new CEO. I kind of want to get your impressions on this. Do you think this means anything? Do you have any hopes, fears, aspirations for this?
Sony.
We'll start with Nick.
Confirmed.
All right, Nick, we'll start with you, man. What do you think about this?
I'm wondering if this increases my chances of me getting a job at Sony. But real talk, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Kaz Hirai was in that position for 12 years?
Since 2012. Since 2012.
Just 2012. So basically, he was in charge of basically getting the PS4 out there and getting the direction they have now. And he's done a fantastic job in that aspect. But I could totally understand after 5 years, I imagine that's a very high-stress position. And I could definitely see wanting to not keep doing that going forward because he's older. He's getting up there in age. He's not like ancient by any means. But I can imagine as you get older, a little less responsibility is not a bad thing. So I definitely don't think it's like a doom and gloom thing. And I don't think Sony's trying to change the direction they're going. I think it's more simply he did what he needed to accomplish and he just wants to have more time with his family and whatnot.
Yeah. All right.
You know,
Rick, what do you? Let's let our guests go a little bit. Rick, what do you think about this?
Honestly, I don't know what to make of it just yet. Sometimes you just kind of let things sit a little bit and see what happens. I really, to be very honest with you as well, I haven't been keeping up very much in anything going on. I feel like I'm on the outside. You know what I mean? Like I used to use Twitter to keep up with gaming news, and now it's I respond to questions all day, which is cool, but I'm like out of the loop, so I don't want to act like I know what I'm talking about here.
Well, we really don't know too much. All we know is you just step down. That's it.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a bad thing. But then again, you always wonder, when you're the face of the company, in a way, right? You always wonder, like, well, okay, so, but you will probably never know the real reason if it was something that's not good. We'll probably never know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
All right, Fame, now you can talk. Now he doesn't want to talk. I get it. I see how it is.
I speak on my own accord, sucker. No, man, I literally like I heard people saying what Dale was saying, you know, about Sony changing their direction. Listen, Sony will always have third person over the shoulder games. That's their motto. That's not changing. Story games that make you sad, what they do, that's not changing. Number two. This is just a guy who's tired and he wants a break, but he still wants to bring in some money, so he's not ready to officially be done. That's all this is. It means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, at this point in time, I don't know. I don't know what it means exactly. I have my thoughts of what it could mean. Like, I generally kind of come to the conclusion that this is just, it's a natural order of things, that it's just time to go. I think right now, like, he hacked and slashed his way. Because if you look at Sony, they are very different than they were 5 years ago. Their movie division's not doing too hot. They cut down a lot of products, and this whole bit with Kaz has been about getting Sony profitable again. They cut out a lot of the dead weight, and so now they're making money because of PlayStation and such. And they've been trying to market PlayStation in a different way, like not so much marketing differently, but they're trying to use the brand name to sell other products like PlayStation Vue. I would even go as far to say PlayStation Now, the same kind of thing.
But how long can PlayStation keep Sony alive?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think that's what the new focus is for this guy, under Yoshida, where they're going to kind of focus a little more on, okay, let's build up our products that we do have left so we're not only relying on one thing.
Because I was reading an article and they were saying even in Japan, like Sony does not have the name it used to have. Like,
yeah, PlayStation
seems to be is keeping Sony alive, but how long can a gaming division keep an entire company like Sony at the size? I mean, eventually PlayStation will be its own entity at this point.
Well,
I mean, it's never smart to only rely on one product. So I mean, I think right now the mantra is going to be diversify. So this isn't our only thing we got going.
I don't know, man. So PlayStation's doing great, and that's great for Sony. I just don't see, how this division can keep an entire company alive. Because I'm sorry, man, no one's buying Sony phones. I don't see anyone talking about how they just bought this new Sony TV. Like, I don't know, man. I just want to see how long the division is doing amazing. At some point, PlayStation will end up being its own entity because, I mean, if your toes are dying, you got to cut them off so you don't get gangrene. You have to cut the whole leg off. Eventually, you got to cut those toes off to save the leg. And PlayStation is the leg, and the rest of the division of Sony is the toes. Cut them toes off to save the leg.
Yeah, at least right now. So.
Well, I was going to say, I think that's why you're seeing them go forward with things like PSVR, and they're trying to market other products on the PlayStation 4, because if they can maximize their profits doing different things, because that's all, when you're trying to maximize profits, you got to change up what you do, how you do things. You have to have different aspects to everything. It's the same thing with Microsoft with having Game Pass as an option. That appeals to a different market of people. They're willing to sink a different amount of money into the ecosystem. So by having PSVR, that adds a different aspect. And there's a lot of people I know that have sunk $1,000, almost $2,000 into PSVR and the games and everything else. So like that's a good source of income for them. And they're trying to find more and more ways to monetize their gaming division, because like Sony used to make everything. I remember growing up, almost any product we had in my house, like the Sony Walkman, everything was Sony at one point. And they're kind of getting away from that. They're not making as much money in other divisions. They've shut down a ton of divisions. I just think they're just trying to cut down slim. If they cut down to just completely the gaming division, I think they could survive as a company, but that'd be a really slimming cut. But it's interesting to see what they do going forward as a whole company. I just don't think some of the doom and gloom people are having it right now really needs to happen. I think it's just overreaction for the sake of overreaction.
Hey guys, not to cut into the segment, but we do have a question from the chat for Rick, if you guys don't mind. Someone,
Go ahead.
Damien D asked, can you take up a different occupation in Kingdom Come Deliverance?
So Henry really doesn't have, after his home is burned to the ground, really doesn't have much of an occupation anymore. And he, Henry, what happens is he comes into the service of being a soldier. And when you're a soldier, that's pretty much, your thing, right? That's what you are. But then again, Henry does have, has some important decisions that he makes in the game, and you can make money a certain way, in the game. But at the same time, Henry will always be Henry. So he might not take necessarily like a certain particular occupation outside of a soldier per se, but there's certain ways that you can go about to make money.
And then someone in the chat also said, Kingdom Come Deliverance should be a third-person view. And I would say no to that. Just because from what I've seen with the game, and there are so many different aspects that you get from a first-person view in this game that you can't get in a third-person view. Especially when you brings the max down, it actually has your crossbars in between your two assets. Yes. I mean, that's an important combat aspect that you can't get in third person. That's a great point. Exactly. I cannot blame anybody for wanting in third person. I really can't. But when we have tested out, put a lot of hours into the combat system, it wouldn't be able to work properly the way it does, as you said, in first person, especially with the physical collision system, but also the way you're looking at your enemy and, target your enemy with the six different ways you can attack your opponent. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's also a really good point.
We got to those questions also.
No, it's good. No, it's good. That's good. That's why we're here. We got to give more time for questions. And I mean, and also like just on an emotional level too. When you're playing in third person, there's a inherent disconnect between the player and the character. But when you're in first person, even a character who is by all means horrible can be, you are playing as them and you kind of give them more of a. For example, Master Chief is a horribly written character in every game. I will say that right now, and I regret nothing. Because Chief doesn't talk, Chief doesn't say that much, he doesn't emote, but you play as him. And so, like, this is the thing, but everyone always cites, like, oh, Chief's so good because of his relationship to Cortana. The only reason you say that is because you're playing as Chief, and you have that relationship with Cortana. She is working for you because you are Chief. You are some nobody who just takes that role. And I think that's why why first person kind of lends itself to you are this person. But then it also kind of creates a couple problems if you have a character who's very distinct in their personality and character. But that's another topic for another podcast.
We have another question. From the chat, and you guys in the chat, keep bringing these questions on. I'm sure Rick is willing to answer anything you guys have.
Hey man, let me go all day.
But the question we have is, how long is the game? A rough estimate of how many hours you can put into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you skip some of the side quests, want to do the story, and maybe you explore a little bit here and there. I think the average gamer will get in about 50 hours.
Nice.
Very thorough, 100 plus. And then here's another thing. And the achievements they kind of got leaked, and then we kind of just shared them.
I noticed.
That was weird. But you know what? We shared them because they were already out there. And basically, there's no way you can actually, on another note, you can actually complete or get all the achievements in one playthrough, because the choices you make in the game will unlock different cutscenes, different circumstances, and you have to make choices that are going to really. That's what's so great about being this nobody guy, because you do get to kind of, make Henry a little bit how you want. But then again, the story is bigger than Henry. But at the same time, it's and there's going to be a lot of multiple playthroughs for people who really want to get all the achievements, who would like to play it a different way the next time around. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I could see people. We had people in the beta putting over 100 hours, and that was only a sixth of the final game of the map.
I will share one achievement that actually I'm going to let Nick share it, because that is hilarious. That someone would even dare include this as an achievement.
I know.
So I really gotta wonder because of how hardcore the RPG audience is into relationships, as we've seen in like Mass Effect and The Witcher, the achievement Virgin really has interest to me.
Do you know how many people actually said they're like, man, that's an easy one. I got that one all day. And that's, they said talk about realism.
Hey, I got another question for you, Rick, from the chat. Someone wants to know: is this a linear story? So, basically, is it no matter what choices you make, will the story pretty much be the same, or will the decisions you make have consequences toward the ending?
Good question, and that's not a yes or a no, because if someone just said, "Is there one ending to the game?" I'd say, "Yeah, yep, there's only one ending to the game." But when I say, it's up to you how you get there, I definitely mean that 100%. I'll give you an example. So we showed off in some footage. There's this gang that's causing problems around the city of Ratai, around the castle of Ratai, and Wolflin is his name, and he has problems with his cousin, who's Captain Bernard, who's you are working with, and you could try and talk this guy, this gang member, the head of the gang, out of causing problems. Maybe you level up your speech skill. Maybe you get some persuasion skills, or maybe you can try and intimidate him if you raise your intimidation level. But if you fail to do both of those, a whole different thing will happen. You actually have a little skirmish, maybe 10 on 10 or something like that. You even have some archers. Maybe might be a little more than 10 on 10. But bottom line is, you could be like, hey man, did you see that crazy fight? And those archers up there, man, they were missing me or doing this and that. And I went around and with my guys and we took them out. And you're like, no, man, I intimidated him. I told him, listen, stop your crap. Get the hell out of here. And so you might have this big fight scene and someone else doesn't even have that fight scene. So that's the kind of things that, and then different cutscenes happen. If someone says report to the captain and the captain goes, right, and you don't listen and you say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go do some side quests. Well, then, you could have a cutscene if you show up on time, and if you don't show up on time, the whole quest could happen because it was a time-sensitive quest. And where the hell were you? Where were you? I told you to report to me, and you didn't. So there's a lot of stories to tell. This is one of the games where, even though there's one ending, there's going to be so many different stories. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see people streaming it. You watch, see what happens.
Oh wow!
Awesome.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Thank you guys in the chat. So watching who are asking questions. If you guys have any more questions, we still got time left, so ask away.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Right. Well, we'll go into our last segment here, so we'll give some time to people to ask their questions. Let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. First off, I gotta take a victory lap. I told everybody here in November, was it November 2016, this game isn't coming out till fall 2018. But no one listened. Everyone's like, no. Red Dead Redemption's coming out holiday 2017, guaranteed. And here's a delay to spring 2018. I said, that ain't going to happen. So we're like, no, it's guaranteed. It's done. And here we are. It's October the 22nd, 2018. And here we are. Guys, this is Rockstar. If they don't give you an exact date, it ain't coming out. If they do not count on that. But I don't think anyone's got any cool takes on the game coming out October 22nd. Rather, in relation to everything else, I pose this question to the panel here: who should be very afraid? If you could only pick one publisher, who should be afraid of this release date, October 22nd?
Actually, the one thing I wanted to point out is that how well understood the gaming industry of how big of a colossal drop if when this game drops it's going to be was I think it was Digital Devolver. I'm trying to remember the studio name off the top of my head. Yeah. And they posted on Twitter, they said for the whole month of October, all our staff will be taking vacation. They were going to take time off and everything else. They were going to release any games because it's really suicide to come up against such a big title as Red Dead Redemption. I think company that's going to have the hardest time with where it's landing is definitely going to be Sony, where they're going to land their Spider-Man, Days Gone, and maybe even Detroit right now, because they've kind of shuffled everything along. God of War is a little later than it was going to be, so Detroit's going to be a little later. It's going to be interesting to see if they try and make Spider-Man go toe-to-toe with Red Dead.
All right. Fane, what you think about this?
I don't care because I don't care about that. No, honestly, truly, I don't care much about Red Dead 2. I know everyone's like super hyped about it. I'm just hoping that Spider-Man doesn't release around the time of this game, because I keep hearing Spider-Man is supposed to drop at the end of the year, and I'm hoping it comes out next year, March 2019, because it will get obliterated if it comes out. Even though I personally don't care about Red Dead 2, I really didn't care about the first Red Dead. I know the impact that it has, on the gaming community. So I just hope Spider-Man stays out of the way, honestly.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rick, what do you got? What's your thoughts on this? You probably have a different perspective than we do.
Well,
you're on the other side of it.
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it a little bit on the other side, but at the same time, I'm such a huge fan of Rockstar. They barely have to show off anything. They can just put on Twitter Red Dead 2 and get 1 million retweets. That's just the kind of power they have because they've earned it. I think I just can't believe, like, Grand Theft Auto, you can just jump in years later and it's still just as much as amazing. I mean, they know how to make games, and it's like I can never be mad at them. I can never be mad at Rockstar. If they put it off another year, I'd be like, okay, they know what they're doing. Not a lot of companies have maybe gotten to that level because they're like the Tom Brady's. I'm sorry, but they. An odd time to say. You know what? That's why I was just about to say that's an odd time to say that. But
now, if events were different last night, then yeah.
Yeah, I know. But you know what though? Like at the same time, sometimes even people are like, Rick, man, I only have so much money, so it's going to be hard to get. Red Dead could be coming out a few months after your game. I'm like, oh, now it's delayed. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what's your excuse now, man? No. But, I'm not mad at all, and it actually gives me more time to play like my own game. Sea of Thieves that's coming out. Catch up on Ghost Recon a little more. Catch up on Monster Hunter. They take their time. Yeah. Just saying.
I gotta agree. Nick's probably spot on about this because here's an aspect you haven't thought about. Sony now has to market it.
Yeah,
they have to market. Now, okay, the games that I think that are actually coming out this year, you got Detroit. Detroit's gonna drop. It's gotta come. If you can tell right now, if they drop Detroit in October, they want it to die.
I was gonna say, I'm sorry if they did because they doubled down. Quantic Dreams doubled down and said it is coming spring, and if it did drop fall, that is Sony putting Quantic Dreams out to pasture, which I really hope they don't do.
Well, you got that aspect. You got Spider-Man, which Spider-Man, from what I've seen, is ready. It's ready to drop this year. But the problem is, where do you drop it? And we're running out of time here about when you can announce for spring. You're running out of time here. So it's got to be after April. And so it's either May, June. Like, honestly, the smartest thing would have been to drop it at, like, I don't know, mid-May, but this timing is weird, and I don't know how that's going to fly, but honestly, you have to deal with that. You have the Call of Duty marketing, which is going to be like a week or two right after Red Dead, and Red Dead's going to get the real marketing. We know that, and any other games that come out this year. But honestly, I think Call of Duty's fine.
I'm going to double down and say Red Dead actually doesn't hit October. I'm going to say it's going to get delayed to spring because Rockstar typically does about 3 delays. I would have no problem doubling down and saying that because we don't even have gameplay yet. We've had some beautiful screenshots, but we still don't really have.
But they gave a date. They gave a day, like when it's going to hit.
And GTA 5 had a date as well, and they bumped it back. GTA 5, I think, went through three delays, and 2 of the delays had dates, if I remember correctly. So And Rockstar is one of those companies. Is their games, as Rick said, their games are consistently so good. Like when you look at how people react to delays on social media, it's usually in a negative fashion generally. But when Rockstar delays a game, everyone's like, meh, okay. And like, it's not a bad thing by any means, because they always come through with their games. I think that's why people are okay with it. But they have their fan base has that patience that if Rockstar is delaying their game, there's a reason, and everyone's fine with it because they know when it comes out, they're going to buy it, and it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much that. I mean, I think it comes down to I don't know how Sony's going to react to that, because then you got Days Gone. Days Gone ain't coming out this year. It's coming out spring 2018. Well, 2019, sorry. It's coming out spring 2019. They're gonna drop Last of Us in the midsummer, or maybe early summer. Like they're gonna drop it, and it's gonna that's how it's gonna roll. And they're gonna have 2 zombie games in the same year. But yeah, but they're just running out of time for that. I think Sony's got the worst situation to deal with. But I think they're going to pull this off with a master stroke of how they're going to market all these games. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I don't know how it's all going to fly, but all right. So we got any other questions, Fame? Anybody else in the chat?
No, I think that's it. Unless I missed something.
Oh, I got one. It says Fastback says, question for Rick: if Kingdom Come Deliverance does well, could we see another game like Kingdom, but another history story-driven game?
I'll tell you this much: we want to keep making games, and so when the game releases, and we believe things will go well, and we believe we're going to have a good future. But until then, we'll see what happens.
Someone asked, "Is it true that healing from injuries in the game takes time to fully heal?" So I'm guessing it's a longer process. They're asking, is it a longer process to heal when you're injured?
Sure. Because trying to have the immersion in the game, when you, like, for example, if you use the alchemy in the game, you're actually using herbal, like, plants and flowers and things like that. And you're making like a natural, potent, quote unquote potion, right? And when you're fighting, you can't heal up. You can't be like, time out, let me drink my potion. Or even while you're moving in action, you can't do it. I love that feature in Dark Souls, because otherwise I died 10 million more times. But, our game isn't Dark Souls, of course. And, but yeah, so like, even if you get an arrow, like, shot, and it's like, I one time had an arrow through both my hands. I couldn't even use my hands anymore. I could just kick them, So then you got to get away from the fighting scene, and then you got to bandage yourself up. And it does take a little time to heal. Not like a super long time. But things don't just happen right away, right? So yeah, it'll be. We try to have the balance of not like we don't want to make it like way too hard or anything. We just want to make you think about it, and want to be more practical and realistic.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna kind of wrap things up here. We got time for one more question if someone comes through. We'll kind of wrap some stuff up here. Again, Rick, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
I know we worked with a couple of dates, but yeah, dude, yeah, really do. I do appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate it, guys. I really do. Thank you.
All right. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap things up here? Fame, Nick?
No, I'm good.
If I could give a shout out to Fame, is that okay real quick?
Sure.
That when
I guess so.
When I was at PAX, I love when someone asks me questions and they know, like, they did their homework, and Fame knows how to do his homework, and he was with his buddy too, and a good group of guys, man. I hope to meet you all in person sometime too.
Thanks, man. Right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, well.
All right. I think that's enough for the questions here. We'll kind of wrap things up. We'll do some of our outros. All right, Rick, where can the good people find you? How do you go pick up Kingdom Come Deliverance?
Yeah, so, first off, our game is out in basically a week, which is crazy. Basically, the 13th. You can get on Steam, PlayStation, Xbox, and it also will be enhanced, too, on Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. Our website is kingdomcomerpg.com, And you can find us on Twitter at Warhorse Studios or myself at Rick5292. We are talking about a ton of stuff as we're getting close to release. And we even have a little contest going on. So check us out. And thanks a lot, guys. Our fans are the best part of Kingdom Come Deliverance. So get ready.
All right. And Nick?
Thanks for having me back on the show. It's always be fun to do the shows on Mondays. So that's it for me. I'm tired. I'm crazy tired.
Didn't you launch another podcast?
Oh, yeah.
Aren't you cheating on us?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. So if anyone wants to check it out on my YouTube channel at Undead3XVI, the Gaming Perspective podcast launched last week. I actually have a one-on-one show coming up in the next week or two once I get the dates arranged. And what I want to do is I want to get people from the industry to talk one-on-one about various topics, games they're working on, et cetera, et cetera. So that'll be a really cool thing once I get that rolling. And yeah, really excited.
All right. Fame Entertainment.
Yo, thank you guys for rocking with us once again. Don't forget the giveaways and the link down below. I didn't curse today, which means I get two curses next episode. Also, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you guys know I won't be on the Multiverse show February 26th because I will be hosting a bit of a Black History celebration type podcast. Basically, we're talking about the Black nerd culture or the Black gaming culture. I got a bunch of big guests on: Chase Money, Team APS, Pretty Brown and Nerdy, Nia. I got a lot of guests on for the episode, so make sure you guys are checking it out. February 26th. I think you guys will definitely enjoy this show I got put together.
All right. So, and Mike from Beyond the Grave has one tweet. I'm going to read this because it's hilarious, and he's going to have to deal with this. He says, if Tom Brady didn't really shake Nick Foles' hand after the game, that's a move. You've won 5 titles and are a GOAT. Stop acting like a crybaby.
He's the only person on the planet that called him out. Nobody, ESPN, nobody's been calling us.
Yeah. But that's because
I remember they after my man Cam when they after my man Cam Newton on this. It's like, oh, he didn't shake his hand. He actually did, but they're making a big deal.
But, Tom Brady does what he wants to get away with it, and for reasons that I won't explain right now.
All right. So we're gonna wrap things up. My main Command V2. You can find me wherever I need to be. I'm on all across the internet. So all right. And this has been the Multiverse Show, episode 83. Thank you guys for tuning in to the greatest show on Mondays. We are out of here.